Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
He helped D'Angelo Martin countless times on Detroit streets. Tonight, a local man's reaction that Martin is now suspected of being a serial killer.
A new driveway usually costs a lot of money, and that's why this one in Troy is getting a lot of attention.
Also, a big pontoon boat doesn't seem like the easiest thing to steal, but this guy made rather short work of it. Unfortunately for that thief, though, a large boat is also difficult to hide.
Especially when a sharp-eyed state trooper is keeping an eye out. This was the scene in Waterford Township as a man in a pickup casually rolled up, hitched the boat, and drove off.
Larry Spruill's been digging into the story today. The guy didn't seem to care that we all know there are cameras everywhere these days, Larry.
Good evening, Devin and Kimberly. Cameras everywhere indeed, and especially in a parking lot. Clear video right here. Let's take a look. You can see this man right here loading the boat, just taking his time, and then seconds later driving off with it. But this boat, it's not his.
I mean, we all just couldn't believe how calm the guy was. He drove in, he took his sweet time, and I just couldn't believe that somebody was that comfortable wide out in the open.
But TJ Harris did not have a choice to believe it. His boat stolen wide out in the open from a local dealership. He bought the boat last week, but had to take it back to get some work done.
4 hours later, my boat was stolen.
The store called Harris, showed him the video. He then posted this video to Facebook.
He drives in, he drives past 40 boats. You can see him driving really slow, almost like he's shopping, like he's picking which one he wants. Then he actually parks next to my truck, and he's there for 25 minutes looking at my boat. He kind of opens the doors, looks at the upholstery, looks at the trailer before backing up to it, loading it up, and driving away like it was his.
Harris tells me within 3 hours of the post, he got tips after tips. One came from an off-duty Michigan State Trooper.
And he offered to basically call Waterford Police Department on my behalf and kind of give them what he knew. Waterford Police, after making contact with the homeowner, had me come down and confirm it was indeed my boat. And the suspect wasn't home. His wife, I think his wife was. She seemed very surprised by the whole thing.
So once again, that suspect was not home at the time, but take a look. If you want to take another look at this video of the blue truck and the boat driving away, we have this video on our website. Click on Detroit.com. We're live tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
It's quite a story. All right, Larry. Kimberly.
D'Angelo Martin, the person of interest in what Chief Craig calls a possible serial killer case, remains behind bars on an unrelated sexual assault charge. At 5, we heard from the mother of a woman who says Martin stabbed her. Well, now we're about to hear from someone who got to know Martin by helping him with his homelessness. Sean Lay is live in Hart Plaza, where much of that outreach took place. Sean.
That's exactly right. Brother Joe does that outreach, helping the homeless nonstop year after year. One person he helped constantly, D'Angelo Martin. He had this reaction when he saw Martin being named the person of interest in the serial killing cases.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Joe Hicks' mind is blown because a man he fed, that he clothed for years on Detroit streets, D'Angelo Martin, is the suspected serial killer attacking women on Detroit's east side. When Martin's mugshot was released by police as they were searching for him last Friday, Hicks instantly knew it was the man he'd helped year after year.
I thought, oh yeah, D'Angelo, he was the fellow that lost his feet, or part of his one foot.
Brother Joe, as he's known, knew D'Angelo Martin lost part of one foot to frostbite, living on the streets. He took these photos of Martin's foot to show how brutal it is for Detroit's homeless. Sources confirmed to us D'Angelo Martin is indeed missing part of his foot. He's now in custody. It's hard for Hicks to believe that the person Hicks helped is the suspected serial killer.
You'd have never thought in your wildest dreams that he would ever harm anybody. To me, he had been around the kids in our youth ministry. He had been around my wife and some of the others, and he just never seemed off.
Never seemed off. Was there anything that stood out to Brother Joe while he was helping D'Angelo Martin year after year? He said he was always very, very quiet. He would notice some changes, Kimberly, when he was drinking. Back to you.
Well, Sean, what's next in the investigation?
I tell you what, we ran into more Detroit police officers today, boarding up more homes after searching and clearing them for bodies. Also, DNA collected in the cases so far on the fast track at the lab right now.
Yeah. Okay, keep us posted, Sean.
A verdict has been reached in the trial of former MSU Dean William Strample. A jury found Strample guilty of misconduct in office and willful neglect of duty. He was found not guilty of criminal sexual conduct after being accused of groping a female student. Jury decided that Strample used his power to sexually harass students and that he let Larry Nassar go back to work without proper supervision after complaints of sexual assault were made against Nassar. Strample will now be sentenced next month.
Now to a Local 4 News update to a story we covered earlier this year. The New Haven girls basketball coach accused of having sex with one of his 17-year-old players is pleading no contest. LaTuan Turner is charged with 4 counts of criminal sexual conduct and 1 count of gross indecency. He faces more than 60 years in prison for the alleged sexual relationship with a student. Turner was arrested in February at a motel in Warren where he was found with that student. Turner will be sentenced next month.
Over here in the Weather Center with Ben, and nothing but what appears to be trouble coming our way on the radar.
Yeah, and you know, we've been talking about flooding a lot in the last couple of weeks. It's mainly been on the east side. This time it could be for just about anybody.
A little more widespread. Yep.
Yeah, because the ground is saturated and soaked pretty much everywhere. You see the rain that's on the west side of the state right now, but we're watching even more of it down to the south, and it looks like it is going to sit over top of us for about a 24-hour window, putting down in some spots 1 and possibly as much as 2 inches of rain. So timing-wise, we're going to see the first of those showers develop at about 10 o'clock tonight. And then right through news time tonight and into the early parts of tomorrow, those showers start to become heavy. Downpours around. We're not anticipating severe weather, but it is the amount of rain that's going to give us the biggest headache. So timing-wise, it's a 24-hour window from 10 p.m. tonight to 10 p.m. tomorrow. We're focused on the M59 corridor that could get hit the hardest with the most rain, flooding, and even some strong winds once the rain shuts off. We'll look at that threat coming up in a few minutes. Don't forget to download our Local Forecasters app. You'll be able to track the rain, any alerts, and a lot more right in the palm of your hand. Download it for free in your app store by searching WDIV. Kim?
Troy's old city manager, Brian Kishnick, is in federal prison, but his tenure is still casting a long and controversial shadow over the city. And there's a storm brewing between a local political activist, the mayor, and other city council members. Local 4's Rod Maloney is live tonight to show us what's at the heart of this political heat, Rod.
Kimberly, check out this driveway. It's this driveway that's driving a wedge between these former political allies. And since we're talking about city regulation, let's talk about the section from here at the end of the driveway down to the street. This requires a permit if you're going to get a new one. And that's the question here. Was there a permit pulled when this driveway was redone about 3 years ago? Troy City Council last week, June 3rd, resident and attorney John Kules, who helped get Mayor Dane Slater elected, broke ranks.
My concerns are with this council, in particular, our mayor.
He believes because of Kishnick, who's in prison for taking bribes from a local contractor. City Council and the mayor in particular need to get more transparent about their relationship with the Delisio contracting company that reported Kishnick.
We need to know who replaced Mr. Slater's driveway and how much he paid for it, if anything at all.
Kules filed Freedom of Information requests about the driveway and discovered no such permit exists. That was the beginning. He moved on to Councilmember Dave Henderson, believing he too was close to the contractor. Henderson wasn't having any of it though, and he shot back reminding Kules he'd been interviewed by the FBI and wasn't charged.
And I despise people that try to throw barbs and to trash my reputation over the reputation of a guy that's spending 30 months in prison.
The mayor too told Kules he's barking up the wrong tree.
I've never done anything illegal. I have never done anything wrong. You can go and do your witch hunt however you want to do it. And I agree with Councilman Henderson. I don't answer to you. I answer to my family.
I want answers. It's as simple as that. I want the truth.
Okay, so I spoke with the mayor on the phone today. He's out of town. He told me that he did have his driveway redone 3 years ago, and he also said that it was a subcontractor who did the job, so he didn't need a permit, and so he didn't pull one. So the work got done, and he says, here we are. In the meantime, he says he did nothing wrong, and so he's going to reiterate the other thing that he was saying at council when we saw that video from the council video, is that this is a political deal, that Kules is now trying to get his political cronies onto the council, and that's what this is really all about. Back to you.
So right about the driveway, how was it repaved?
Okay, as best we can tell, according to the city attorney, it was paved by the company, Delisio, that they were talking about at the council meeting. But apparently, because they were doing the slab work in the area, when they are doing slab work and they have cement left over, that they will go to somebody in a neighborhood and say, do you want your driveway redone for a discounted price? And that's what we were told happened here. How much? We still don't know.
I need my driveway done. My goodness. Okay. We'll keep us posted on this, Rod. Thank you.
Ann Arbor police are asking for help tonight in finding two missing teenagers. This is James Dupont and Jasmine Davis. They're both 16 years old. Ann Arbor police said they were last seen Sunday walking on Washtenaw Avenue near Hill Street. So that was 3 days ago. Police said the two are new to Ann Arbor. If you know where they are or might be, you're asked to contact Ann Arbor police. And in Dundee tonight, police are trying to identify two people who stole and used credit and debit cards. Police say these two men broke into cars at a Dundee apartment complex and neighborhood to steal the cards. They then went to an Ypsilanti gas station where they were caught on camera using those cards.
All right, Ford drivers, listen up. More than 1 million Explorers, some of those built in Dearborn, are being recalled because of a problem that may cause drivers to lose control. Rear suspension and transmission control software problems on select 2011 through 2017 Explorers can limit steering control. One driver says this caused their SUV to run into a curb. Ford is also recalling 123,000 2013 F-150 pickups for a second time to fix transmissions from downshifting on its own. Contact your local Ford dealership for any repairs.
Drunk driver ended up in the side of a house after crashing early this morning in Dearborn.
It happened around 3 in the morning in the area of Outer Drive in Campbell. According to police, the driver went through a fence and garage before coming to a rest against the house. Thankfully, nobody was inside at the time. The two suspects inside the car ran off on foot, but were arrested a short time afterward and taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Okay, we are less than 20 minutes away from nightly news, so let's find out what Lester Holt and his team are working on.
Let's head to New York, where Lester's standing by with a preview. Hi, Lester.
Hey, Kim and Devin. Coming up, the U.S. women's soccer team made history during its World Cup game last night. So why are fans upset with the players? We'll look into that. Plus, it's been 25 years since the double murder that led to the trial of the century. Tonight, I sit down with the father of victim Ron Goldman. He shares the never-before-heard phone messages left in the hours after the infamous crime.
Lester, you had us both here going 25 years. I'm very curious as to what it is that Fred Goldman thinks about O.J. Simpson now.
Well, he doesn't say his name out loud, and he believes the public perception is that O.J. is guilty and thinks we may have heard the last from Simpson. Our conversation coming up here on Nightly News.
Okay, we'll see in just a bit, Lester. Still ahead, what's going on with food allergies? The number of known cases has exploded in the past 20 or so years. What experts know and don't know about that, coming up in Good Health.
Also, what police say this woman stole by the hundreds using the access she had at her job in Macomb County. We'll be right back.
I don't take it lightly when you want to share your story. I hold people accountable, stand up for others, stop the bullying, and hopefully make positive change.